Good morning. How are you all today? I'm Joan Denizot. I'm the founder of Zize Bikes. The mission of Zize Bikes is to encourage and celebrate heavy people in living life to its fullest. We do this by providing safe and easy to use bicycles that hold riders up to 550 pounds. We're doing this video today to educate, to learn also, to hopefully entertain you a bit as we explore the topic of what are the important features of a bike when you're heavy. So just a little background, I started this company about 14 years ago because I wanted to ride a bike, and I did a lot of research and I talked to a lot of people, and what I realized is that it matters. And since I started this company, I've heard a lot of stories from customers who have suffered at the hands of a bicycle that did not hold them. So I came to the conclusion that actually it really does matter what components your bicycle is built of. And that is why I started Zize Bikes, and it's why I continue to run it, because there's absolutely no reason that any of us should not be able to get out there and bike. So some of the key points that you want to verify, and if you don't buy a Zize bike, that's certainly your choice. We've kind of combined everything for you, and we have a guarantee it's safe. But certainly, I'm not telling you that we're the only people in the world that can build a bike like that. It's that we do build a bike like that. But there are components that you need to look for if you're out searching out in the world to see what's available. So the first thing is, what is the frame built out of? And basically, there are a few components that frames are built out of now, and they're aluminum, which is probably the most widely used material. There's steel, and there's different grades and qualities of steel, and there's titanium. So titanium is off the charts expensive, and I'm not too sure how sturdy it is, because frankly, I don't really want to make my bike cost prohibitive. My goal is to make bikes, not to rip people off or to buy things that, titanium is great because it's really light. And frankly, if you weigh 300, 400, 500 pounds, what difference does it make if your bike weighs an extra pound or two? Because what you're getting, the trade-off is you're getting safety. So anyway, so steel, aluminum is the most popular, but aluminum can break, and it does break. It literally will crack. I'm not saying that all aluminum bikes will do this, but they can and they do. Steel is unbreakable. The problem with steel is it can rust, and it can be kind of clunky, heavy and clunky. So excuse me, what we do is we use a chromoly steel, which excuse me, which is really unbreakable. It's aircraft quality, so it's that same grade. So it's a really smooth ride. And from our studies and our experiences, chromoly is really the way to go for the best ride that is never going to break. Another component that often will break for riders is their wheels. And wheels, obviously, we all know, we've all seen tires with wheels this big, and we've seen tires with wheels on wheels this big. And so the tire itself is a component, but the wheel itself, we need to make sure that the rims are very thick and wide and built of a strong material. And the spokes, this is a really important component also. The spokes need to be professional quality stainless steel spoke. And preferably you're going to want 36 spokes. Most bikes now are using 32. Rarely do you go over 36. It's more than sufficient. Actually, the way we build our bikes, 32 is sufficient, but we like to put in 36 because it's just that going beyond a little. So build a really solid wheel. And then the tire you put on, they need to be wide and they need to have a high thread count. Those are two components. So the wideness provides, it cushions the ride. And it makes, the tires harder to be punctured because you're cushioning, you're going with it. Now this is, you don't need to have hugely wide tires, but you need to be able to support the weight on it. Another component of this, which is not exactly in this talk, but you need to make sure when you're heavy that your tires are always fully inflated before you ride, because that is a weaker area if you're not careful of that. So make sure your tires are fully inflated. Our tires are, well, it depends on the bike, but they're around 2 inches, except our newest bike, the Yonder, which at today's date, which is May 7th, hasn't even been introduced yet, but it's coming like in a month. That has a 3-inch tire. But it really does kind of depend on what your preference for the style, but more than that, you want to make sure you don't ride on one of those really skinny road bike tires, because it won't safely support you in terms of the cushioning, and it's also more fragile because it's there again with many bikes. The goal is to get you a light piece of machinery, and my expertise leads me to understand that that is not what we're looking for. We're looking for solid. We're looking for well-built. We're looking for well-assembled. And that is, that's what Zize Bikes does. So another obvious thing that people may not pay attention to, especially if they're not experts, is what the pedals are made of. A lot of the less expensive bicycles have pedals made of plastic. And these aren't going to hold you. They're going to fall off. There's also some really tiny pedals that you can ride with bike shoes. If you're a really expert pedaler, biker, that's fine. I do know people that with Zize Bikes who have moved on to use clip-in pedals. I personally love our pedals, which are just a wide platform made of steel. They're strong, they're not going anywhere, and your foot is solid on it, and you can take it off when you need to without a lot of contraptions, which is not my forte. The crank. The crank is something that we don't necessarily think about, but it's one of the most frequently damaged areas on heavy people's bikes. And you need a crank. What the crank is that it's where the pedals are attached. It's kind of where the pedals are like joined into the bike. So the bike has a hole like this, and the crank goes in here, and then the pedals are like here and over here. That was a really bad example, but you know what I'm talking about. So the crank it's really works very hard. So we need to make sure it is a super solid crank. It's a metal crank. It's welded on. We don't want a replaceable lightweight crank. Again, when you look at inexpensive bikes, if you go to Walmart or even, you may get a brand that is well known, but that, they're selling a bike that is, $200 or $300. Check these components, because chances are excellent that you're not going to find them, and you're really just setting yourself up to be very unhappy. And not only that, but you could end up being hurt, which certainly we don't want. Um, now, when I tell people what I do, and I say, oh, I build bikes for heavy people, every person, I swear, well, maybe not every person, but 85% of them say, oh, are your seats comfortable? Everybody wants to know about that because, of course, when you haven't biked for a long time, the seats hurt. And everyone, well, again, maybe 85% of the customers will ask me, well, what are your seats like? And the challenge is that the seats are highly individualized. I have talked to many bicycle seat builders, the experts in the field, and they say, we can't just sell you a seat that everyone's going to love because it doesn't work like that. Everyone's sit bones are different. And so I can't say always get, a gel seat because it may work for 60% of your customers and 40% may hate them. So it's a very individual thing. What we've done at Zize Bikes is we've put on a pretty wide, well-padded seat. And I would say probably 90 to 95% of our customers seem very happy with them, with those seats. Now, when they're starting, a lot of them will call me and say, Joan, oh my God, this hurts. So there's a couple of tips for the seat, which is, well, I'll get into that in a minute. I want to finish talking about what you need in a seat, and then I'll tell you about how to ride more comfortably. So the seat, so what you need to do is you need to try them. That's really what you need to do. What we do at Zize Bikes, like I said, our seats, they're wide, they're comfortable. Most people love them. But if you get a Zize Bike and it's not comfortable, I strongly encourage you to go to a bike shop, preferably where you got your bike built, and ask them if you could try some of their seats. Actually have them put them on your bike and go for a spin and find out what feels better, because it does matter. It really does matter. And it may be padded, it may be gelled. I mean, professional bikers, say, listen, you need to sit on your sit bones, not on your butt. And so you need like just a smooth saddle, like the Brooks saddles are like renowned as being the best saddles. They look like pieces of torture personally to me, but it's what professional riders use. So try them. That's really my best advice. And if you should get one of our bikes, you'll find that most of the time the seat will be great. And you'll, okay, great is an exaggeration. It'll be fine. And as you ride more, you'll realize, oh, this is a great seat. Because what you need to do when you ride is, when you're starting biking, start slowly. Okay, if you all of a sudden get a new bike and go on a 15-mile ride, you are going to be very, very, very sore in many parts of your body, but including your butt and between your legs. So it's painful. So you need to work up to it. Another thing besides shopping for a new seat is invest in some biking shorts. And I don't know about you, but the idea of putting on padded shorts does not appeal to me. But I'll tell you what, it makes a huge, huge difference. I mean, amazing. And I wear either like a skirt over it or some baggy shorts over it, which anybody can do. They even sell, I believe, I don't think they sell the women's one with baggy shorts, but they sell men's Lycra with the baggy shorts over it. Excuse me. So one place that I know you can get these, and I'm not affiliated with this company, I just refer people to it because they seem to sell a very good product, very many sizes and reasonable prices. It's aerotechdesigns.com. So you could, if you wanted to check out bike shorts, it's Aerotech Designs, AerotechDesigns, aerotechdesigns.com. And they have biking clothing for many, many, many sizes. So that's awesome. One other thing to think about with the seat, well, there's a couple of things. One is not only do you want to keep the seat, have the seat comfortable, but you want to make sure you can stay in place. And so you need an integrated seat post. So that's kind of hidden inside the seat, and it's got a serrated edge, so it locks your seat in place, which is really important. So you want a seat with a serrated edge. And also, I do not know one heavy person who can successfully use a quick release seat post clamp. Because what happens when you get on your bike is you start sliding. You like turn a little to your right, and all of a sudden your seat's turning that way. And then you turn to your left, and maybe your seat's turning or maybe not. But it just slides. It's just not stable enough with the pressure we put on it. So we double boat clamps feel like it's essential so that that seat doesn't move, but definitely stay away from quick release post clamps. They don't work. Another component that is not so obvious, but certainly helps in the riding of your bike is use a wider handlebar. That will help with balance a lot. So again, I don't see anybody joining me, which is too bad, but I certainly understand. I hope you get a chance to take a look at this. And if you have questions after the fact, please feel free to include them after the video, or send a message at info@zizebikes.com, and we're happy to answer any questions. So I hope you all have a marvelous day, that you're staying healthy, and that you're getting some riding in. Have a great one.